In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can take advantage of instance variables in conjunction with QSignals to wire up triggers and events from within the room editor. You see this signal trigger. This is like a little area. When the player walks into this area, we want to open up a door. And when the player walks into this area, we want to open up some other doors. So we could make several objects and different objects that communicate with each other, or we can create reusable objects that we can then set up from within the room editor. And we're going to choose to do the second thing here. Let's see how this can be done. First, when we walk into the area trigger, we want a signal to be emitted. So let's go ahead and open up our first area trigger object and create a variable definition and name this emit on trigger and give it a string. Let's go ahead and just give it a default string. And then in our collision event with the player, we want it to do something. We want it to emit the signal. So we're going to use QSignal emit, and the signal we want to emit is emit on trigger, which is the instance variable definition. And then we also want it to destroy itself. That's simple. Now when the player walks over this area, it will emit whatever it's set up to emit here by its instance variable definition. And I'll show you how to do that in the room in a second. In addition, it destroys itself so it doesn't repeatedly send that signal. Now we need the door to respond. So let's open up our lockable door and let's give it a variable definition called open on signal. It's also going to be a type of string, and let's go ahead and give it a default of default, and let's set it up as a listener. So in the create event, we're going to do QSignal listen, and we're going to listen for the open on signal. Give it a function. We're going to set is closed to false, and then let's also play a sound effect. So I'm going to say audio play sound. We're going to play the gate sound. Priority of 1, and we don't want it to loop. Great. Now let's go into our room and see what happens. Remember, we set the default signal values to the string default. Cool, all the doors opened. Let's go ahead and go to our room and only link this area to this door. So let's open up the area, go to the instance variables, make it editable. Let's say area 1, as though the player triggered the area 1 signal. Let's give it area 1 entered. I like that even better. And then let's wire up the door. We're going to do the same thing here. Open on signal, area 1 entered. Now let's hit play and see what happens. Awesome, now only this door responds to this area signal. Let's wire up our second area. And let's call it area 2 entered. And let's wire these doors up to it. And let's see if we get the desired behavior. Great. Looks pretty good. The final thing we can do is wire up our enemies to also become alerted on a signal. And in the same way, we can do that through the instance variable definitions. So I'm going to open up enemy, give it a new variable, call it alert on signal, and do the exact same thing. And then in the create event, throw in our QSignal listen. We're going to listen for the alert on signal. And all we want this to do is set alerted to true. Before we hit play, we need to update the instance variables. So I'm going to open up the first enemy and make it a listener to the area 2 entered signal, and do the same for the other enemy. Now let's run the game. Watch how it works. There we go. Pretty cool, huh? So now we can set up area triggers in our room. We can wire up our entire game using QSignals. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.